Devotional listeners, now I humbly request your full attention as I take up the topic of the science of devotion. First thing that comes to the mind is, what is devotion? What is bhakti? What is the definition of bhakti? Well, many spiritual masters, many enlightened souls have given us many definitions of the word bhakti. Bhajanam bhaktihi. Bhajanam nama rasanam. Gopal Tapani Upanishad tells us the definition of bhakti. That is to take delight, to relish the sweetness of God, to taste the sweetness of God. That is what bhakti is. Animals such as cows and buffaloes, they have two stomachs. So when they chew the cud, if a cow is chewing the cud, it sends a partially chewed cud into the first stomach. Devotion is that which puts an end to this ignorance. So it's called Bhanjanam Bhakti. Another definition given is Bhago. Another definition given is Bhago Bhakti. Bhakti is that which makes us realize that we are a part of God. We are a fraction of God. We belong to God. Just as a tree has many parts, and every part of the tree is always serving the tree. It's always serving the self-interest of the tree. It's always nourishing the tree. Like the roots are absorbing the water from the ground and nutrients from the ground and giving that water, that nourishment to the entire tree. The branches, the sub-branches, they're all working towards serving the tree. They're part of the tree and they're always serving the tree. Likewise, we, individual souls, we are part and parcel of God. Ansho Nana Vyapadeshat, says Brahma Sutra. We are Ansh, fraction of God. He is the source. We are His fractions. Swakrita Pureshwar Mishwar Samvaranam Vadantya Khila Shakti Dhriton Shakritam. Bhagavad Mahapuran, Canto 10, Chapter 87, verse 20. This verse says that every individual soul is an eternal part and parcel of the Supreme Soul. Ishwar Ansh Jeev Avinashi Chetan Amal Sahaj Sukh Rashi. The Ramayana says the same. Mamaivansho Jeev Ke Jeeva Bhuta Sanatanah. The Bhagavad Gita says the same. Shri Krishna says, O Arjun, every individual soul is my eternal part and parcel, my eternal fraction. So we are fractions of God, and therefore we are servants of God. We serve God. We must serve God. Just like the body is a servant of the soul. Every part of our body, eyes, ears, nose, every part of the body is always working in the service of the Atma, the soul. What does that mean? It means the eyes are seeing. The eyes perform the function of seeing. What are they seeing? They're looking at people, they're looking at flowers, they're looking at witnessing different scenes of the world. For what reason? The eyes see things and people, and then they ask the soul. They take this to the central government, the soul, and they ask, are you happy with what I'm seeing, with what we are seeing? Are you happy with this very beautiful outfit? Are you happy with this very beautiful person that I'm looking at? The Atma, the soul, says no. But the eyes will keep on looking. They will keep on seeing objects of the world, people of the world, various sceneries in the world, all in an effort to please the soul. Likewise, the tongue is tasting various delicacies. Why? Just to please the soul. It's a different matter that the soul is not satisfied with anything of the world, but all the parts of the body are always working, continually working, constantly working to please the soul. And they are such servants of the soul that they cannot object and they cannot. So just as our body, various parts of the body are servants of the soul, in the same way the soul has a soul, and that is God. So the soul is the body of God. Yasya Atma Shariram, Yasya Aksharam Shariram. The Vedas tell us this. So the soul is the body and Shri Krishna is the soul. So the soul must always be serving the Supreme Soul. So devotion, bhakti is that which makes us realize that we are part and parcel of God. Adi Shankaracharya says, bhakti is the constant flowing of the mind stream towards God. Let's say our mind is like a stream and a stream is flowing. Where is it going to? Which direction is it flowing in? Oh, it's flowing in the direction of God. So when our mind stream flows towards but meditating on God, who has a name and a form. That is why bhakti? Why not something else? Why not some other path? Well, our scriptures do tell us that there are mainly three paths that can lead us to our destination. What is our destination? Our destination, meaning the destination of the soul, is God. Our destination is God realization. So our scriptures say there are three paths leading to God, and they are karma, jnana, and bhakti. Three: karma, jnana, bhakti. So we wonder, can I choose any one of these paths? Are these three paths absolutely equal? Is it a matter of preference? Let's find out. Our scriptures tell us that to determine the validity of a path, in other words, is this path a valid one for me? That path has to fulfill 5 conditions. 5. First one, anvay. Anvay, secondly, vyatirek. Thirdly, anya nirapekshata. Number 4, sarvatrakita. Number 5, sanatanatva. Let's take these up one by one. Is this a valid path? First of all, anvay. Anvay means, will this path lead me to my destination? Or will it lead me somewhere else? Will it take me halfway to my destination, part of the way towards my destination, or all the way towards my destination? That's anvay. Number 2, vyatirek. Can I reach my destination without following this path? Number 3, anya nirapekshata. Does this path need the help from another path? Or is it independent? Can it itself lead me to my destination? Number 4, sarvatrakita. Is it for everyone or for a select? These are, according to scriptures, these are 5 points, five measures through which we can measure the validity of a path. So let's take up these paths one by one, shall we? Number one, karma dharma, the path of karma dharma. Will this path lead me to my destination? Will it lead me to God? Scriptures say that the ultimate attainment one can get by following the path of karma dharma is Swargalok. Swargalok, celestial abode. That is not our destination. Our destination is God, but karma dharma marg, the path of karma dharma, can lead us only to Swargalok. That's all. Many people think that Swarg or heaven, that is our destination. It is not. Swarg is a place of temporary pleasures. These are very, very, very heightened pleasures. In Swargalok, you get a very beautiful body. A body always exudes fragrance. There's no smelly perspiration. There's nothing that can go wrong with the body. There's no disease. There's no old age. There are many privileges that one receives in Swargalok. But that's not our destination. Let's listen to what the Vedas are saying. Please listen attentively. The pleasures of Swargalok are very limited. And they are very great pleasure for a limited time. They are not perfect pleasures. You do not get happiness, true happiness in Swargalok. What we are looking for is unlimited. And to fulfill the first condition, it does not take us to our destination. But just for the sake of curiosity, what about the third point that we are using what the scriptures use to measure the validity of a path? And that is Annanirapekshata. Does this path need help from another path? Karma dharma? Absolutely, yes. It's not independent. It needs help of bhakti. It looks to the path of devotion and it says, please fulfill me. I can only take a person to Swargalok, but if this fellow wants to go to God, then I need your help. You need to come in. And so now, the one who's walking on the path of karma and dharma, if he practices devotion side by side, he will reach his destination. Now he's a karma yogi, not just a karmi, but karma yogi. In other words, he is following the path of karma and dharma, but internally he is practicing devotion. He's loving God. Because of that loving emotion, loving devotion to God, he will reach the destination. And just again, out of curiosity, is this path for everyone at all times? Sarvatrakita? No. This path is for those who are extremely attached to the world. Extremely. It's not for everyone. And lastly, is it eternal? Is it an eternal path? Will it last forever and ever? No. This path will take you to Swargalok, and then that's it. This path will finish. It will not take you anywhere else. So, the path of karma dharma is not for us because it is not a valid path. It cannot take anyone to God. It cannot take us to our destination. What about the second path, the path of Jnana? Rita jnana na mukti. Without jnana, you cannot have liberation. But is this a valid path? Let's measure it through the five measurements. Number one, will this path lead me to my destination? Answer is no. The path of Jnana can lead you only to Atma Gyan. The highest you can go through the path of Gyan is that you will realize the self. I am Atma. I am not the body. मैं शरीर नहीं, मैं आत्मा हूँ. This is Atma Gyan, knowledge of the self. You will not attain Brahma Gyan. You will never attain the knowledge of God through the path of Gyan. Why? Because there are two kinds of Maya. Two types of Maya. One is Vidya Maya, one is Avidya Maya. Avidya Maya and Vidya Maya. Avidya Maya is also known as Swarupa Varika Maya. And Vidya Maya is also known as Guna Varika Maya. So when you walk on the path of Gyan, love the neighbor. I fall in love with the lady next door. And she said, what? And he said, well, my Guruji told me, and I'm walking on the path of Gyan, he said that, I am Brahma, you are Brahma, everyone is Brahma, so I don't distinguish between you and the lady next door. I am Brahma, you are Brahma, she is Brahma. And the wife said, I see. So you become quite a Jnani now, right? Have you? And he said, yes, I've learned a lot. So she went marching to his Guru and said, Guruji, what are you teaching him? Guruji said, this fool, he has not understood. He's not a Jnani, he is an Ajnani. He's a fool, he's not knowledgeable. Guruji suggested something. And the wife was very happy hearing it. She came home and her husband was sitting for a meal at the dining table. And she brought him garbage from the garbage cans. Rubbish, all sorts of rubbish. And he said, what is all this? She said, please start eating. Bhog lagao. He said, what is the meaning of this? And she said, but you are a Brahma Jnani now. You're such a great Jnani. You don't distinguish between me and the lady next door. So how is it that you're distinguishing between rice and this in front of you? You see a difference between this and masala dosa? You see that you're seeing there to be a difference between this and pizza? How? So you go ahead and eat this because you are at such a high stage that you see everybody as Brahma. He said, Maaf karo. He said, forgive me, I'll never say that again. The path of Gyan, it will give you Atma Gyan, and that's when you know you are the Atma. Like Jad Bharat, he knew, I am the Atma is what I am. Now you can tell him that he's a fool, you can hit him, you can beat him, spit on him. It doesn't matter to him. Because he's not the body, and he knows that. I'm not the body. He does not identify with the body anymore. It's a very high stage. So now that Atma Jnani thinks, this is it. I have become, this is perfection. But it is not. And Atma Jnani will fall again. Because as long as he is in his samadhi, absorption, he is safe from Maya. As soon as he comes out of his samadhi, Maya is right there to attack him. And this is what happened with Jad Bharat. You may know the story already. Jad Bharat was an Atma Jnani. He knew himself to be the Atma. So he was living in his ashram, he had disciples, and he was bathing in the river near the ashram. And he saw that there was a doe, female deer, and she was an expectant mother. This doe heard the loud roar of a lion, and everybody loves their life the most. Everyone loves their life the most. Suppose there are two people and they say, I love you and I love you more than life itself. Let's say that they're both embracing one another. It could be husband and wife, it could be brother and sister. Oh, I love you so much, I love you more than life. Two people who really love one another, right? And then you throw a rubber snake, a realistic snake. And then you see what happens. One will go that way, the other will go that way. Snake! Oh no! And each one will try to save his or her own life. We love our life the most. So that doe, she was going to have a child, she delivered her child in the water, and she swam away, afraid, because she had heard the sound of a lion. Jad Bharat was right there, and he felt so sorry for that little creature, that little deer, that he took it home and he started raising it as if it was his own child. He became quite attached to that deer. And he told all his disciples, take care of the deer also. Everywhere Jad Bharat went, now the deer would go. And many years passed. Now Jad Bharat forgot all about Brahma. He's Atmagyani, mind you, but he forgot all about God, all about his meditation, and he is now only thinking about the deer. Many years passed and he became very old. It was time for him to die, and he called his disciples and he said, take care of my child. Jad Bharat was crying for the deer, and the deer was crying for Jad Bharat. The deer also knew what was going on. Animals do have intelligence. Not anywhere near to the intelligence of a human, but they do have intelligence. They do have a soul. They do have a mind and an intellect. So Jad Bharat, his final moments were spent on thinking about the deer. This is why in his next life, he was born as a deer. He wasn't even born as a human. He was born as a deer. And he was an Atmagyani. He had gone to the highest level of the path of Gyan. Once you become Atmagyani, then Lord Krishna says, Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma Na Shochati Na Kankshati Samah Sarveshu Bhuteshu Madbhaktim Labhate Param. Chapter 18 of the Gita, verse 54, Shri Krishna says, once you become an Atmagyani, now you need to take one more step. What is that? You must now practice devotion to me. Mad bhaktim labhate param, he says. Now you must practice bhakti to me. Meri bhakti karni hogi. You need to practice devotion to me. Now the Jnani is walking on his path and he is meditating on Brahma. He goes from Tattvamasi to Brahmasmi to Aham Brahmasmi to Brahmasmi. Various stages, 7 stages in fact, in his path of Jnana. And with great, great difficulties, he has come to the point that he is an Atmagyani. It takes him thousands of lifetimes, not just one lifetime. And then he attains only Atmagyan, and then he has to practice devotion anyway. So, when we look at the first measurement of this path, to measure this path, Anvay, will this path lead me to my destination? Kya Gyan Marg mujhe apne gantavya sthan pe le jayega? Will the path of Gyan take me to my destination, which is God? The answer is no. But just out of curiosity, let's look at the other measurements, the other 4. Number 2, will I attain my destination without this path? Of course, yes. Number 3, does this path need help from Parikamaya? But what about Guna cannot be destroyed through the path of Gyan? For that, the grace of God is necessary. It is absolutely essential that God graces us, and then Guna Varika Maya, the Vidya Maya, the intelligent aspect of Maya, will leave us. This is why no one can attain God without the grace of God. And who asks for God's grace? Jnani? No. The Jnani is like a baby monkey. You may not have seen this, but a baby monkey latches on to its mother by its own effort. I have no knowledge. I have no powers. I have no means of knowing you. I'm completely relying on your grace. And he cries out to God. When he cries out to God, then like a benevolent mother, God comes rushing to the devotee and graces him. When a child cries, the mother comes running, right? When the child cries in the house, not only the mother, everybody goes running. Kya hua? Kya hua? What happened? What happened? The mother definitely goes running. So when a devotee cries and seeks God's grace, then Lord Krishna goes running to that devotee. He graces the devotee. The Jnani does not ask for grace, so he does not get the grace. This is why when he attains Atmagyan, he needs to practice bhakti. Then he will attain Paramatma Gyan or Brahma Gyan. Then he finds fulfillment. No more. That's it. So the second path, path of Gyan, cannot take us to our destination. It has not met even one of the 5 conditions, right? Now we come to the path of Bhakti. Very objectively, this is in the scriptures. This is not something that I'm making up or someone else has made up. This is from the scriptures. What about the path of Bhakti? Anvay, will this path lead me to my destination? The scriptures say yes, of course. Bhakti revainam nayati, bhakti revainam pashyati, bhakti revainam darshayati, bhakti vasha purusho, bhakti reva bhuyasi. Marthar Shruti. Shruti Ved, one and the same. This mantra from the Vedas, from Marthar Shruti says, Bhakti alone, the word Ev, Bhakti Revainam. So the word Ev is there. Only Bhakti can take you to God. Bhakti alone, only devotion. No other path. The other paths are there, but they need the help of devotion. Devotion will take you directly toward those who are highly attached to the world. The path of Gyan is for those who are absolutely detached from the world. Path of Bhakti is for everyone, for the one who is neither too attached to nor too detached from the world. And that is all of us. All of us. पुरुष नपुंसक नारीवा जीव चराचर कोय. It can be anyone. Man, woman, eunuch, even other living creatures. Everyone qualifies for the path of bhakti. It's a very generous path, admitting everyone. Sweet. Oh yes, I'm very happy. And sometimes you must lose also. Unfortunately, I lose sometimes. Do you distribute sweets at that time also? There's no question of it. When I lose, I just go to my room and I sulk in private. I'm very unhappy. Why did I lose this debate? Lord Krishna said, then, as a beggar, he said, then Swami, nobody should know your name and fame. Throw all that in the Yamuna river. You need to be humble. You need to practice devotion. Uninterrupted devotion. You need to shed tears. That's what you need to do. Because you're in such a bad situation that you are so happy when you win. And Shri Krishna said, are you angry with me? He said, of course. But why? Why did you take so long? Do you know how much I cried for you? Shri Krishna said, let me show you something. Shri Krishna showed him huge mountains of sins. These are your किसी साधन से भगवान नहीं मिल सकते. There is no means or method through which we can attain God. We will just have to build in the middle age. It's for the man and the woman. It's for the child. We've had great devotees, child devotees like Dhruv and Prahlad. They were child devotees, 5 years old, devotees of God. No one is too young to practice devotion. No one is too old to practice devotion. No one is too detached from the world to practice devotion. No one is too attached to the world to practice devotion. No one is too educated or uneducated to practice devotion. This path is for everyone. Beautiful path. And Sanatanatva. Is this path eternal? Yes, it is. First we practice sadhana bhakti. Siddha Bhakti. That is perfect devotion. Now this is God realization. Now the devotee has attained God. He has attained God realization. Now, where is Bhakti? Where is his path? Did it die? Did it go away? No. Bhaktya sanjataya bhaktya. The Bhagavad Puran says, Bhakti begets Bhakti. Devotion begets devotion. What does that mean? It means when you are practicing it, it is called devotion. When you have attained God realization, Bhakti is still there. First it was sadhana bhakti, now it is siddha bhakti. Bhakti is amar, it is eternal. It does not ever die. You are practicing devotion here, a devotee is practicing devotion here. Then when he goes to Golok, divine Vrindavan, in Krishna's abode, he would practice devotion. He would be doing devotion over there too. Now, not the practice, he will be in siddhis. Another is that bhakti is that which destroys ignorance. Another is bhakti means to serve Sri Krishna. The mind stream is always flowing towards the lotus feet of Sri Krishna. That is what bhakti is. Just like Ganga Ji, the sacred river Ganga, it flows, starts from the Himalayas, it comes down, and then it flows for miles and miles and miles, and then it empties into Ganga Sagar, empties into the ocean. In the same way, our mind stream always flows, flowing towards Lord Krishna. That is what bhakti is. And we wondered about other paths. What about the path of karma dharma? What about the path of gyan? There are these two other paths besides bhakti. And we have come to know through the scriptures that there are 5 things, 5 points a path must fulfill in order to be considered a valid path. Anvay, Vyatirek, Anna Nirapekshata, Sarvatra, rest, the more you become entangled. The more you read scriptures. So, what I'm presenting to you for these 5 days is explanation of the science of devotion. Not what my mind has told me, not at all, but I'm presenting to you as a humble servant of my Gurudev the philosophy of the Vedas and Vedic scriptures as interpreted by and explained by Jagat Guru Uttam Sri Kripalu Ji Maharaj.